Hi, my name's Bob Carroll. I'm the Executive Vice President and Permanent Solutions Labor Consultants, and I'm your host for today's episode of Employee Relations Words of Wisdom. Remember, if you like our channel, to hit the subscribe button and then hit the bell notification so that we can notify you when new content is available. And I'm very happy to be joined again by Cliff Hammond from Foster Swift, who is a partner at the firm and specializes in labor and employment law. Cliff, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me here today.
Been a while.
Yeah, been a while.
Yeah, glad to have you in our office today. To ask you is I want to talk about some trending in your profession as a labor and employment attorney. Some of the things that you see coming into the future that attorneys need to be aware of, and what your clients need to be aware of. Some of the new challenges that you might be facing, and new challenges that potential clients or your current clients are facing.
Sure. I think number one is the workforce really wants different things now than they wanted 10, 15, 20 years ago. And an employer, what they want is they want to be able to retain and attract talent. It's very difficult right now. You get an economy that's going at a rate now where your unemployment's low, so you're trying to keep those that you have from jumping ship, and it's not all about money. And sometimes it's about flexibility, sometimes it's about benefits, sometimes it's about balance, sometimes it's about how they're treated. And so what you're seeing is you're trying to match the way that a lot of the management who's worked their way up the top saw what they thought was important, and they're seeing a workforce that's changing. They're seeing people think that different items are more important to them. And that may be just vacation. That may be unpaid time off. And so what we're looking at here is how do you match the wages in your market, in your industry, with the expectations, because a lot of people think they're worth more than what they're getting paid. And you know what? Because the market's tight, they might be able to get it. A lot of people are saying, you know what? I don't need that much money. If I can get comparable money, if I can get a more flexible work week, a 4-day work week, a work week where I don't work weekends, a work week where I can take a couple days off. And it might not be because of family. I might not have a family. I might just simply want to do things on my own. I might want to travel. And I think a lot of times we have these ideas that you want vacation, you want time off for certain reasons, but that doesn't match today's workforce. And so what you've got to do is basically right size what you do and what the people you're trying to attract and retain want. So that's number one. The second thing is we're seeing a tremendous amount of wage and hour complaints out there. People are doing things remotely all the time. They've got their telephone, they've got their laptop, they've got every opportunity to work off-site. But how do you track those hours? When you email somebody in the morning because you just had an idea and tell one of your subordinates or one of the people that work with you, hey, can you do this on the way to work? Can you do this weekend? And they said, sure, I don't care. I'm up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't really have this, this set schedule. I can do that. Are you paying them? Are you paying them overtime? We're seeing people who say, hey, my industry, we never paid overtime before. Well, guess what? That doesn't matter. It's a strict enforcement on whether you are or not exempt under the law. So we're seeing big changes in that area, and we're seeing people start to look at these new rules that are coming down from the federal government, and they're saying, hey, here's how much you've got to pay in order for somebody to be exempt. And people are saying, do I want to make them exempt or not exempt? We're seeing the federal government set a lot of standards out there. Even under the Trump administration, they're seeing federal employees getting paid for time off for right now, maternity leave, paternity leave. Well, now you're looking at the private sector trying to compete for some of these people, and they're saying, well, do I have to pay? And you've seen the FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act. Is that now going to be moving? Now, before the law comes, you have to do that. The other thing you have to watch out for is lots of states are changing their laws, not just for minimum wage, but how much you have to pay people to be exempt. They're changing laws on leave. They're changing laws on what people can and can't be paid a certain wage. They're changing laws on how you do drug testing, what's legal, what's not legal. And every state might have a little different analysis. And do you have employees that are working outside your state that might actually be under another state's laws? We're seeing the state of California, they put out some privacy laws. They're wide stretching. They're encompassing a lot of different states. And you actually might be here in Michigan, or you might be in Florida, and you might still have a problem with complying with that law. So keeping up with all the new laws that every state's coming out, understanding how the federal government's looking at you, understanding how to keep your employees happy, that'll keep you up at night. And that's what I'm saying.
And this is an interesting thing, and I heard this on another podcast earlier today. Once you hit 50 hours, your productivity actually goes down.
Yeah, you're exhausted.
Okay.
Right.
Between 50 and 55, the difference is negligible.
Okay.
Anything over 55, it has a serious impact on productivity. Yet, me and you have worked a lot of jobs with union campaigns where the employees are working 7 days a week for months straight.
Sure.
Right? And the employer is wondering why productivity is not meeting the quality standards, why people are quitting, their turnover is so high, why people are sick all the time, why people are abusing substances and or having mental health issues. Anything over 55 starts to have that impact, and that's one of the things that I wanted to bring to the table here is we need, here in the States, we really need to put a focus on that as well, and I think that's coming.
I mean, that's true. I mean, I would tell you, though, when you meet with people, and you know this, there's a difference between chalkboard, right, and real world.
Yep.
It sounds great, but when you can't get enough heads in to make production happen, then people work overtime. And the question is, if you've got to do that, are you willing to change some of the break times? Are you willing to change some of the ability for people to have some time off while they're working? If you're not going to listen to, like you just said, some of these statistical realities, what are you going to do on the backside of it? And I think sometimes you have to look at how do you pay people? How do you give them benefits and bonuses and time off and things of that nature when you do have a chance? Because if you keep going down the road of diminishing returns and work, and you're not willing to give on the other side, then don't scratch your head when you can't retain people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the bottom line is people aren't machines.
No, they're not. They're not robots. And look, technology's coming, and I think that's one of the other things that we're seeing now is as technology comes and replaces jobs, or they get outsourced, or whatever it might be. A lot of times people think, well, that's going to end all the problems. But in reality, what happens is you still have people left. No matter how many employees you have left, the same issues continue. There's the same issue about how do you pay them? How do you retain them? And if they're more qualified or more skilled than the ones that you replace, then it's going to be even harder to replace them if you don't treat them right. And they're going to be more educated, quite frankly, about their rights, and they may sue you because they know what they can do.
And that's something no employer wants.
No, absolutely not. No.
So I think the bottom line is there's a lot changing, a lot of things that people that are watching this should be aware of. And this is something that is not static. This is something that is going to continue to evolve throughout the time.
Well, the thing is, here's what you have to understand from a legal perspective is that when people complain about their work conditions that aren't illegal, they have two things they can do, really. Well, three things. They could stay and just keep complaining.
Which is not going to make them happy.
Not going to make them happy, and eventually they will leave, but that's going to bring them around, probably productivity down. The second thing they could do is file a charge or a claim with a federal agency and say you are treating them poorly, or find an attorney to file a suit and say you're discriminating against me because of something. Even if it's not real or if it's not cognizable, it's real to them and it becomes a problem for you. Or the third is maybe they'll find a union to talk to. And so as a workplace, you want people to come to work, and it's not going to be easy, otherwise you wouldn't pay them. But you want to try to do the best you can to make the work environment as compatible as you can for people to go to work and understand why they're being required to do things. And you're trying to do your best to help them out. Otherwise, they're going to leave, they're going to complain, you're going to get yourself into either an inefficient or a lawsuit, or you're going to have a third party potentially coming in trying to say, look, if you won't do it, we'll sit there and we'll help them do it for you.
I want to thank Cliff for being on the show. Anyways, it's been great.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks, man.
All right.